Let's take you live to Barberton in Mpumalanga now, where 12 more minors appeared in the local magistrate's court today, and 16 others are still expected to make their appearance. They face charges of theft, trespassing, and contravening the Immigration Act. Nqobile Madlala is there and joins us now live. A very good afternoon to you. Nqobile, when are we expecting the 16 to make their appearance?
Well, according to the Commissioner, it's supposed to be the Provincial SAPS Commissioner in Mpumalanga. It's supposed to be any time from now. There seems to have been a confusion with regards to whether or not the 16 was supposed to appear today or was supposed to appear as the 28 plus the 24 yesterday. So today we saw the 12 out of the 30 that was supposed to appear a little earlier on, with the 2, of course, that we saw that were hurt. Those 2 we understand is under police guard in hospital because of the injuries that they sustained underground. Now the 16, it was unclear already where exactly or whether or not they were going to be able to appear. But we know that their 48 hours does in fact deplete today. And if they're not appearing before that 48 hours is going to be an issue, as we know that they're supposed to then be let go. So the Commissioner says that will continue. We're currently in courts where we understand that they are going to be appearing today anytime.
Are we expecting as long a process as we have seen previously in terms of processing them through court?
So one of the major issues, Vuyo, that we have experienced with regards to some of these suspected illegal minors is that the documentation has been really a difficult part, especially for the SAPS. So for them to be able to be processed, they need to then find their names, their surnames, and then also try and cross-check and check where exactly they are. A little earlier on, with the 12 that appeared here, one of the major issues that appeared was the fact that some of them did not even understand any of the South African languages. So when they were spoken to, they needed somebody who would be able to translate in the language that they're familiar with, and mainly the language that they're speaking at home. So because of that, there's a bit of a miscommunication between the magistrate and the people that are appearing before court. So what they had used is they had used some of the guys that were here that could hear a little bit of Swati to be able to translate to some of the guys. So when they looked at the postponements, they said that they will find somebody who can be able to speak in their language. So that in itself shows you that there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to what takes place in courts. So to make sure that the law does take its course in a way that is fair for everyone, then they do require that there's somebody that is able to speak. So that's one of the issues that needs to be looked at, as well as the documentation. But further than that, also it's the logistics, being able to get them from various places that they were arrested in. You will remember that Nqobile did already conclude on Sunday. So some of the operations were done by various SAPS that is in the province that were able to take them to some of their police stations. So now they need to make sure that they are able to take them from the various police stations and bring them to courts. So that is a logistical nightmare if you look at how many people have been arrested, because we're talking about 550 people that have been arrested. But for these ones, it's just 16 people. But they need to be found exactly where they are so that they are able to be brought in. So that waiting process is from now already. We're waiting for them until they are able to be brought into court so that they can, of course, start the process of court, granted that they will be able to understand what is taking place. So that's the kind of process that we are dealing with for you.
Speaking of Vala Mgodi, are the authorities now absolutely certain that there's no one who has been left underground? Because I'm asking this because you say, I mean, the operation was supposed to have been concluded at the weekend, but a couple of days later, I mean, a couple of people still surfaced, and in spite of the company's claims as well that everyone had come to the surface. How sure or confident are the authorities now that indeed there's no one left underground?
So I did actually pose that question to the acting provincial commissioner, and what he said to us, Vuyo, was that they cannot be certain. This is mainly because the land is vast, and he spoke about the fact that just to go down at Shiba, it's about 1 kilometer at the Shiba mine, but also to go across, it's even more vast. But if you go to the next shaft, which is Fairview shaft, it's about 2 kilometers going down. So that in itself tells you that there are a lot of layers to what they are doing. So they cannot be sure and be certain that everyone has been cleared, especially because they understand how the suspected illegal miners operate underground. However, he did explain that they continue the operation in checking what is taking place underneath the ground. They continue to check what is going on the shaft, so from the people that are working there to also the security that's working there, as well as the police. Now, you will bear in mind, Vuyo, that we understand that the operations around Mpumalanga are various. We understand that there are some areas that have been affected, not only just the Shiba mine, but also various other mines in the province have been affected. So those operations are still ongoing. But this one specifically that saw the arrest of 496 people was specifically targeted because of the Valamgodi operation, and that went on for a week and concluded on Sunday. But then they continued to monitor what was taking place on the ground, and they continue to do this now. However, because of the fact that the area is so vast, they now have used things like cameras to be able to try and work around the area. So where there's no manpower, there's at least a camera, there's at least some form of way that they can be able to see what is taking place underground. But they continue to fight against that illegal mining that is taking place underground, so that the operations does continue, which we know at this point are active, but it needs to be so safely. So those operations are continuing within the province for you.
Nqobile Madlala, live from Barberton in Mpumalanga, where from any time from now, 16 other miners are expected to appear in the local magistrates court, part of over 500 people who are facing similar charges of theft, trespassing, and as well as contravening the Immigration Act.